Oh, the race to replace Marjorie Taylor Greene moving to an April runoff between Trump-backed Republican Clay Fuller and Democrat Shawn Harris. Neither candidate receiving the required 50% of the vote needed to advance. That's why there's a runoff. There were more than a dozen candidates running in the special election to succeed Greene, who resigned from her seat at the start of the year. We're pleased to have Georgia Democrat congressional nominee Shawn Harris joining us here. Shawn, good morning to you.
Good morning to both of you. Glad to see you.
Good to see you as well. If I could just show the percentages again, let's start there in terms of where the vote came out. Obviously, you garnered more than 30%, Fuller getting around that area as well. But if you consolidate all the Republican numbers together, and they had a number of candidates that ran, if you consolidated all those numbers, that would beat you. Is there concern? Is there a different strategy that you'd be moving forward with?
No, well, I would tell you, we went into this particular runoff or into this special election that we're having, knowing that we had 17, 18 others that were running in this election. I even had Democrats that were running against me. But we also knew that it was going to be two of us that were going to come out. To be honest with you, we knew Fuller was weak, so we actually were preparing for Moore to be the candidate. And I would tell you point blank, after we get through this April 7th, election I win, I'm fully expecting to go against Moore because right now the Republican Party is fighting amongst themselves in the district. President Trump came here roughly about 3 weeks ago to endorse Fuller. It did absolutely nothing for him. And still right now, Fuller's, I think he's running against 6 or 7 other Republicans in the primary as him and I are running in this runoff right now.
I do want to keep it fair. I did have Fuller on this show, Clay Fuller. He was on National Report. He recently spoke about the upcoming runoff against you. Here's that clip.
It's important to remind voters for the runoff coming up on April 7th, we've got to defeat the radical left, and that's exactly what Shawn Harris is. I'm not mad at any Republican that stayed in the race, but the time for unity is now. The time for us to coalesce and come together and support President Trump and send a fighter to Capitol Hill is now. I hate that we don't have representation this week up there on Capitol Hill. But we always focus on what we can control, and so we're going to go and try to unite the party here in Georgia 14 to defeat the radical left on April 7th.
And recently, former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg campaigned with you. Now, he called you a part of the radical left. Do you see yourself as that?
Well, I would tell you absolutely not. And the reason why, I am a moderate Democrat, but the key piece, if you listen to Fuller, he doesn't sound confident in what he's saying because somebody else is telling him what to say. The reality of it is the same Republicans in this district recruited me. They came right here to my farm and said, Shawn, you got the it factor. We want you to run against Marjorie Taylor Greene. I had to tell them the truth because I believe in leadership and I believe in a trusted relationship. I said, guys, I got to be honest with you. After 40 years of being in the military, I'm a Democrat. They took 2 minutes and said, Shawn, we still going to back you, and they still back me today. And that is why Fuller is so nervous right now because he knows that not only Democrats are voting for me, independents are voting for me, and also Republicans are voting for me because many people in this district that are Republicans, they didn't leave the Republican Party. The Republican Party left them behind.
All right, let me before we go, a couple of things I want to ask you about. If you did indeed advance to D.C., you represent constituents there in Georgia. There are a couple of things that you'll be asked about. One of those would be the SAVE Act, voter ID, securing elections. Do you support voter ID for those in Georgia?
I would tell you, I believe that our system is already set up to be safe across the board. As you know, when it comes to this SAVE Act, it's Republicans, leaders in the Republican Party right now in D.C. that are saying to the president, sir, please back off. This is not a good bill. Too many add-ons will be put onto it, and we're not going to be able to get anything done. What makes me different from anybody else that's going to go up there is I am laser focused on the people here in Northwest Georgia. Yes, I'm a Democrat, but I'm the only one that has said this. When I go to D.C., my focus is on the people here, hardworking people. I'm not going to tie myself to a party. When you talk to my counterpart, Clay, his exact words were...
But do you agree that you should show ID when you vote in U.S. elections?
We already show ID here in Georgia. All these things are already in place.
Should every
so
state?
What I'm saying to you is this. These are things that we like to play games on. The reality of it is we need to make sure that everybody here in Northwest Georgia has a job, they can pay their bills, and that our farmers can get down the higher cost of fertilizer right now. These are the issues that everyday people here in the district are saying to me why they want me to go to Washington,
But you would be just to be clear, you would be voting on U.S. elections within the SAVE Act, but specifically voter ID for each state. You said you had it down in Georgia. Is that something that you would support on a federal level?
When I go to Washington, D.C., I want to be clear. When I go to Washington, D.C., I don't represent the entire United States. I don't ever want to be president of the United States. I represent Northwest Georgia. Here in Georgia and here in Northwest Georgia, everybody would tell you that our elections are safe. We almost have an election every Tuesday. That's how many elections we have in Georgia. And this election that we just had against Fuller was safe. The one I'm going to have on April 7th is safe. And then when I turn back around and then in November against Moore, it's going to be safe.
Would you call on Senate Democrats, if I can move to the partial government shutdown that we're in right now, which does affect Georgia, TSA lines? You've seen that at Atlanta, obviously, and other airports as well. Is that something that you would call on Senate Democrats to stop this, fund DHS, let these TSA workers, which I just talked to, they're not getting paid right now. Would you call on them to stop this, fund that bill?
What I would do is this. I think in Washington, D.C., if you look at anything I've said in the past, I think in Washington, D.C., we need leaders. We need adults in the room. And that's what I'll do when I go in the room is bring everybody together and say enough is enough of pointing fingers. Let's get this figured out and make sure that we take care of the American people. Right now, I think we got too many people in D.C., Democrats and Republicans, that are just playing games with the American people. And that's why you need a leader like me that's going to come to D.C., that's going to be able to stand in the room and say, you know what, I'm here representing the people in Northwest Georgia, period. We need to get it done.
All right. Shawn Harris, the Democratic nominee, they're running against the Republican in the runoff, the race for Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat in Georgia. Great to see you, Shawn. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me this morning.
You too.